Hello, welcome to Crafting with the Crafty Chick. We are going to start working on project 3, but I remembered from the last video I told you guys that I was going to show you how to do a water for inside your jars. So this one here I colored with Stampin' Blend, and it really just kind of roughs the paper up a little bit. And so on the other side I actually stamped using this one that we used like a pot on the last card project. You can use this to make water, which makes it looks like this on your jar. So I'm going to show you guys really quick how that looks. And then we're going to go and get started on project number 3. So let me get the jar stamp out. And we'll stamp that up really quick. I use Balmy Blue for this one. I have my grid paper because we're actually going to stamp off a little bit. So I have my jar stamp, and I'm going to stamp that really quick, full strength Balmy Blue. Such a pretty blue color. I really like this color. And when you stamp off, it just looks like the lighter blue mason jars that you see every once in a while. Okay, I'm going to clean my stamp. You guys know I'm super serious about cleaning a stamp after you use it. I don't like to let the ink sit on those for very long. Okay. And then we're going to take the, oh, that didn't help at all. Anyway, you guys can see on one side has that ring that we had cut away with the last project, and then if you turn it over, if you turn the stamp over, then it's just a solid image that you get. So what I'm going to do is stamp this full strength. So we have our jar here that is full strength Balmy Blue. So stamp this, stamp off, and then you're just going to stamp. And so that gives you that kind of that water ring there. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to clean our stamp. And we're going to take this, remember they're reversible, so we're going to take it and swap it around. It's still a little wet, so it wants to slide on the block. Okay, and then we're going to stamp this full strength, Balmy Blue, and I'm going to stamp off, and then stamp right where we have stamped onto the jar. And there you go, now you have your water on your jar. So you can see that water ring that's on there. Isn't that cool? So you don't have to color it in unless you want to. On the last card project, I will show you guys the jar that has the water in it. I actually colored with the Stampin' Blends and then went back and used a color lifter to lighten up that color. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys that water technique pretty quick. I forgot to do that in the last video, I'm sorry. Okay, so now we're going to get ready and do project number 3 with the jar of flowers. And it's going to be, and I did not put this together because I wanted to explain a few things. But the next card we're going to be doing is this one right here, with no jar, just one of the floral arrangements from that stamp set. And then I used this same floral image and used it for the background. So one of the things I want to show, so in your kit you guys have a piece of paper that looks like this. I'm going to demo for you how I created this background with one small stamp. You don't need a background stamp to do this. So that's the reason why there is a white space in the middle, which we don't care about because it's going to get covered up anyway. Nobody will ever know. So I'm going to really quick show you, because there's actually a good way to do this to get even coverage all the way around and mostly avoid overlapping, which sometimes is hard to do with this technique. So I'm going to set this off to the side. And so the floral image that we're using from this stamp set is this one right here. And so we're going to use that and make our background. And so I'm taking Memento Black ink, and you have your 4 by 5 1/4 base. Now with this one, I found it easier just to, instead of inking the stamp this way, I found it easier to do it this way so that you get nice even coverage across your whole stamp. And then what I'm going to do is start in the top left corner, and if you want to have a piece of scrap paper because you're going to overlap and you don't want to get your work surface messy. So you just stamp. So it's a lot of re-ink, stamp, re-ink and stamp. But this is super fast technique. It doesn't take any time at all. And it's a nice way to create your own background without having to have a background stamp. And so the next one I'm going to do, and because it's photopolymer, you're able to kind of line up where you stamped last and just pick up right where you left off. So I'm making sure that that transfers. So I did have a little bit of overlap right here, but that's okay. Now, once you get to the edge here, you really are only stamping a little bit less than half of your image. And so stamping off the rest of the image, which is okay. And so now I've created the first part of the background. So the next one I'm going to do is back over here on the left hand side and line up right where I left off and just stamp. And see, you can't really tell that there's a difference. By the time you're done, it will look like it was all one stamp. And then I'm going to come down here, you're going to stamp off onto your scrap paper a little bit. And so you're starting to create your background. So then the next one we're going to go to is over here. And you want to do the middle of that one. You just eyeball. There's really no measuring involved. You just kind of eyeball. You're able to see where you stamped and just kind of follow that. Now, you would think we would do this one next, and we do not want to do that. We actually want to do this middle part, and I'm going to show you why. It's because when you stamp this, some of the image is going to be directly under this one, and you're going to want to know how much space and where to line up that stamp to stamp your next image down here. And also, some of it will transfer onto your scrap paper, but now I'm able to kind of see where I need to stamp here. Okay, and there we have our background. Like I said, I overlapped up here a little bit, but that's okay. Okay, clean the stamp off real quick here. I don't need to spray every time because I've already squirted a few sprays of our stamp cleaner there. So now we have your background piece, which I'm going to set off to the side. So this is my sample, which I did not actually put together yet because I wanted to show you guys a few things. And on this side here, I stamped half of the image. So you could do full like we did here, or you can do just a little bit on the end, however you want to do. Either way, that middle is going to get covered up. Okay, so gather all of our pieces here. And this card base is another one of our new ink colors called Misty Moonlight. It's a really, really pretty blue. Several years ago, Stampin' Up! Had a blue color that this kind of makes me think of. And I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head. I used to be so good and memorize all the Stampin' Up! Colors named. But yeah, this color is a really pretty color. And I think so far of all the new ink colors, Misty Moonlight and Just Jade are my two favorite. Magenta Madness is a really bright pink. I don't know, it's got to grow on me. So anyway, this is a Misty Moonlight card base, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then we have our background piece, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And so now we're going to just glue this background piece onto our card base. And we're going to do that now. Make sure your score is up at the top. And yes, I've had it happen to me as long as I've been making cards where, oh, the score line supposed to be at the top and was at the bottom, and my card was upside down. It has happened. It's been known to happen. Don't let it happen to you. Okay. And then you have this Misty Moonlight stitched rectangle piece. And this is from our stitched rectangle dies. And then you have the white one that's also part of the same stitched rectangle dies. And so what I have done is that stamp we just used to make the background, I used in this corner here. And then colored with Stampin' Blends. This flower up here, just ignore that. You guys won't have that on yours. That will be covered up by these two flowers here. So you guys have these flowers, you will need to fussy cut those out. That will be the next step. So we're going to go ahead and glue this piece onto our Misty Moonlight rectangle. So do not put the glue on here because this does not cover all the way to the edges and you don't want to have glue on your outer edges. So glue the back side of your white piece. Glue that to your stitched rectangle, Misty Moonlight. And then we're going to glue the Misty Moonlight rectangle to our base of our card. Make sure you cover up any white spaces. We don't want to see those showing. And I just try to center it and make sure it's kind of even all the way around on top, bottom, and the sides. And adhere that down. Okay, just moving a few things out of my way here. And then, so these two flowers, because we have a lot of blue up here in the corner, I wanted to provide a little bit of contrast. So we're going to use the pinkish reddish flower. This is actually, I think, Poppy Parade. Actually, I was mistaken. It's Dark Floaty Flamingo. So we're going to take this. This flower has, just like on the last project, has a little bit of a line going through that petal on the bottom. That faces downward. So we're actually going to pop this one with a dimensional. And if you use a big dimensional, make sure it's not going outside of your petals where it will show from the other side. So make sure that line, the petal with the line at the bottom, is facing down. And we're just going to take that and put that up here in the corner. And then on the blue flower, there's also another petal with the lines going across it on the bottom. Make sure those are facing downward as well. This one we're going to just glue on, but if you want to pop it with a dimensional, you can. And then what I like to do is just kind of chuck it in a little bit behind the pink one and kind of stagger it so it's offset a little bit. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? And then you have your inside Whisper White liner. 4 inches by 5 1/4. If you want to stamp a sentiment on the inside of your liners, which you guys know I like to write notes inside my card, I would recommend you stamp your sentiment before you glue this piece down, because if your sentiment is off or kind of crooked or you mess up, you can always turn it over and redo it on the other side. So it gives you another option. But if you glue it down, that's it. It's stuck. Okay, attach that to our card inside. And there is his card. I love this sentiment. This sentiment is actually from the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. And I think it's just fitting to just let somebody know they're loved. I mean, you don't necessarily need a reason to send somebody a card, but just to kind of say, hey, thinking about you and know that you are loved really can make a difference in someone's day. Who are you going to send the card to today? Alright guys, this is project number 3, and now you know how to take one of the floral images and create a background out of it. If anybody has any questions about this project, just let me know. Thank you so much, and I'm going to get ready to do video number 4 for project number 4. At the end of that video, I will do the prize drawing, just like I do at the end of all my videos, and I will show you guys what the prizes are going to be. So excited. Okay, I love you, I miss you, and I will see you soon. Thanks for crafting with the Crafty Chick. Bye-bye.